Moses, a name that echoes through history, a prophet, a leader, a liberator, mentioned over 700 times in the Bible, the man who spoke to God face to face, who parted seas, stood before Pharaoh, and led an entire nation to freedom. But in all our stories of Moses' triumphs, we forget someone, the woman who stood beside him before the fame, before the plagues, before the miracles. Her name, Zipporah, the forgotten wife of Moses. Join Bible Breakdown as we unravel the story of the woman behind the legend. Moses may have led a nation, but who helped lead Moses? What if the woman who saved Moses' life wasn't even an Israelite? Why did she suddenly throw a bloody foreskin at Moses' feet? Did Moses ghost his wife while he was off parting the Red Sea? And who really wore the spiritual pants in that wilderness marriage? Stick around, because this isn't just a Bible story. It's the one your Sunday school teacher skipped on purpose. Name meaning little bird. Vibe, not afraid to bite if you cross her family. And just like that, Moses goes from fugitive to future son-in-law. Before there was a Red Sea, before there was Mount Sinai, there was a lonely fugitive wandering through the desert. Moses had just fled Egypt. He had killed an Egyptian in a moment of righteous anger. And now he was a wanted man, broken, alone, wrestling with identity, Hebrew by birth, raised as royalty, and now homeless. He wandered through the wilderness of Midian. Hot sun, dry winds, no throne, no sandals, just a past he was running from. And then it happened. The well at Midian. It was at a well in Midian where the course of his life would shift. He saw a group of women trying to water their flock, but local shepherds harassed them, pushing them aside. Moses, ever the protector, stepped in. He drove the shepherds away and watered the flock himself. These women were the daughters of Reuel, also known as Jethro, a priest of Midian. One of those daughters was Zipporah. She saw more than a rescuer. She saw a man, weathered, strong but kind, a man whose spirit, though wounded, was noble. First thing first, who was Zipporah? Zipporah was not just some desert girl. She was the daughter of a priest. Her father, Jethro, also called Reuel, was a respected leader and priest of Midian. Midian, by the way, was no ordinary land. It was a region rooted in the lineage of Abraham, through his wife Keturah, Genesis 25:1-2. So Zipporah came from a line connected to covenant, even if not directly Israelite. Her name, Zipporah, means little bird in Hebrew. But don't let the name fool you. She was sharp, observant, and decisive. Raised by a priest, shaped by the desert, trained in hospitality and courage. Her mother isn't named in the Bible, but tradition suggests she was a noble woman, possibly involved in Midianite religious service. Zipporah wasn't raised to be silent. She was raised to see, to serve, and to speak. How was Zipporah married to Moses? When Jethro heard of Moses' heroic act, he welcomed him into his home, and in time, he gave Zipporah to Moses as a wife. In a time when Moses had nothing, no land, no flock, no calling, Zipporah became his companion. She didn't marry the miracle worker. She married the exile. They lived in Midian for 40 years. While Moses tended sheep, Zipporah built a home. She bore him a son, Gershom, which means, I have been a stranger in a strange land. That name painful, honest. Zipporah was there in Moses' wilderness, not just the desert, but the wilderness of doubt, of silence, of waiting. A bride on the front. And then the bush burned. God spoke. Moses' destiny reignited. But before he could confront Pharaoh, before the plagues, before let my people go, there was a silent moment, a deadly one. In Exodus 4:24-26, we read a mysterious story. On the way to Egypt, the Lord sought to kill Moses. And Zipporah, yes, Zipporah intervened. She took a flint knife and circumcised their son on the spot. She threw the foreskin at Moses' feet and said, "Surely you are a bridegroom of blood to me." Strained, yes, but powerful. Zipporah saved Moses' life. She knew what needed to be done when he hesitated. She understood the covenant. She acted fast. She acted boldly. Why was Moses and Zipporah separated? Shortly after this, it seems Moses and Zipporah were separated. Perhaps for safety, perhaps due to the mission. She doesn't appear again until Exodus 18, when Jethro brings her and her sons back to Moses. now the mighty leader of Israel. Imagine that reunion, from desert wife to wife of the deliverer. But did she ever get used to Moses' fame, to the God clouds, to the manna? The Bible doesn't say much more, but we know she stood by him when it mattered most. At the beginning in the unknown, when no one else did. Zipporah legacy. She never spoke before Pharaoh. She never lifted a rod. She never climbed Sinai. But she changed history. Behind Moses' bravery was her silence. Behind his obedience was her boldness. Behind his survival, her sacrifice. She represents every unsung woman who supports a mission she doesn't fully understand, but believes in the man carrying it. What do we learn from this story? Zipporah didn't ask for the spotlight. She was the spotlight behind the curtain. To the wives, mothers, sisters, and daughters supporting someone else's calling, you are not invisible. You are indispensable. And to every man walking through his wilderness, may you find a Zipporah, a partner who sees you not just for your potential, but for your soul. Moses may have parted the sea, but Zipporah stood in the fire. If this story stirred something in your heart, drop a comment below. I will not be forgotten. Like, share, and subscribe for more untold Bible stories. Because sometimes, the greatest miracles aren't in the spotlight, they're standing silently beside it.